back with what I think will be a fun video. I've had kind of a busy last month for the month of July. My birthday's in July. A lot of my friends' birthdays are in July, so it's kind of been like go, go, go. And one of the things that I got to do in the month of July was travel to New York. My like one big souvenir that I got myself also as like a pre-birthday present, this cute little gouache paint set. I feel like these are ones that I've seen a lot online. I have some other gouache paints that I've done, even ones that I've done in previous videos, but this was just really cute. It was surprisingly affordable for being from New York, and I was a little bit worried about transporting it back in my carry-on. I didn't necessarily have a ton of space. We weren't there for a very long trip, but oh, can I open it? Clearly you can see that I've started using some of my paints. I've been trying to do a lot more art and kind of be more consistent with art. So my last video kind of using as an example, I painted my bookshelf. I have the cute design on the side. I have it all set up now. It was a very big project and it took me a really long time to do. And I tend to do that a lot with art where I just full on commit to a really big time consuming process. I forgot how to speak. A really time consuming project. Because of the time commitment of them, I don't get to do a lot of like consistent little art. After buying this cute set for my little birthday gift, I wanted to do kind of like a week or so worth of little paintings. So I spent 5 days kind of playing around and experimenting with the different colors. I'm excited to take you guys through it. It was really fun to film. I'll see you guys in a bit. So I decided to do some voiceover for this video while I'm going through the paints, the painting process. This is me kind of first grand reveal of our colors, our paints. I do kind of expect there to be a bit of a color discrepancy on a new paint palette, but I was a little bit thrown off with the greens on this one. You can see here as well too, the greens were just a bit more blue than I was expecting. So this is actually the first sketch from still life that I've done in a while, so this was a little bit of a practice in more ways than one. I'm taking my kneaded eraser here just to kind of lighten up the sketch marks before I start painting. I truly thought right off the bat that I had made a grave error with this color choice. It was reading way too brown for what I had wanted, but for this first practice, I kind of just wanted to see how the colors would layer. And again, as I was doing these darker color layerings, the way that they looked when they were wet and initially being placed down on top of the colors, I thought I was making a big mistake. I did not like the way that it looked initially. And every time I like layered on a new color and it started to dry down, it turned out better than I thought, but I was very worried. I think once I got to this section where I was starting to add some more detail, add some more dimension, we had these cool light veins that were running through the foliage and the leaves. And I was like, okay, maybe we're getting somewhere. Maybe this is actually looking like the plant reference. And I actually enjoy how it's coming along. Also, shout out to Past Me for fully forgetting to paint that little back leaf in the bottom. Forgot about him. Pretty happy with where we got for today. And I'm also pretty impressed with The sketchbook paper, I was worried that it would bleed through, but it didn't. I think I got this for Christmas for my uncle, and I'm happy to actually be able to do maybe some actual paintings in here. I think would be super cute. So I did some very base sketching for this one, pretty much just the pot and some of the leaves in the pot. I was also worried by this initial shade of green being so vibrant, it came across a little bit neon. All of these like bottom vines that are coming down and all of the bottom leaves, I didn't feel like sketching them out. I thought about it, but the way this plant was so overlapping, a lot of these were kind of just freehand with the paints themselves as I'm mixing different tones of the same green and just going down the vine, moving down the vine and adding more detail. Kind of similar to the last one, it wasn't until I started adding some more of these details and little highlights, little shadows into the leaves did I actually start liking how this one looked. I also was a little less confident in this pot. It looked patchy initially, but after layering on the different shades of green and the highlights, it actually turned out really cute. So I finished up day 2. Here is day 1 for reference. I do think that I definitely like day 1 better. I think I just like the depth of color and maybe just like the perspective and angle of it a little bit better. This one is cute. I actually really like how the vase turned out, or the flower pot. And some of the leaves are pretty, but I think maybe just the lighter colors and how overlapping the leaves were was a little bit more tricky, but pretty cute. Happy with day 2. Please excuse my very broken phone case. I just needed something that size and shape to use as a reference. So if you've ever painted either paints, watercolor, anything onto a blank piece of paper, just a regular piece of paper, you'll notice that the more wet it gets, the more warpy the paper gets. That's what was happening underneath this paint. It was kind of looking a little patchy. It was getting that weird warpiness, and I was very worried with where we were starting. I did not have a lot of confidence in myself and where we were going. I remember having such a distinct thought in my mind as I was painting this one that I did not like how it looked. Like, I didn't have a lot of faith in myself or with the details. But watching it back now, I'm like, it's just part of the process. Like, it's coming along. I see the vision, but in the moment, I did not. I actually think this was the moment as I was layering the little water waves and then the little pops of highlights that I actually started to see where this one was going and enjoying where it was going. I'm pleasantly surprised with how this one turned out. So just kind of reviewing, we have day 1, feels a little bit more realistic. Day 2, very cute. I didn't like the leaves as much as the first day on this one, but I really like the pot on this one. And day 3 is really cute. I was kind of inspired. I've seen a lot of gouache paintings that have this kind of like 3-dimensional feel to them, where there's like different fields of vision. I don't know if that's the right way to phrase it, but like the things that are more in the background, things that are more in the foreground. And I like how shiny the water looks. I was really worried when I first started it because the water did not look the best. And it's a pretty, I think, simplistic design, but it was fun like layering up the colors from darker to lighter. And it's cool to see how the lighter colors kind of layer on top of the darker ones. So contrary to my last couple days, I did not do one bit of sketching for this one. I had my little bookmark next to me that was based off my bookshelf painting I just did, and I was kind of just winging it, free painting with that design as the reference point. In retrospect, I do kind of wish that I had put down some kind of base color. I think it would have made these ones that I put on top pop a lot more, and it would have been cool to see how they layered up on top of whatever the base color was that I used. For most of this though, I was pleasantly surprised with my color matching abilities to the bookmark reference. I feel like the yellows match pretty well. Aside from maybe the pinks, I feel like everything is a pretty spot on match. This is another one of those instances where I'm always a little bit doubtful with where a piece is going until I'm kind of getting to those end stage details that are kind of making it pop and pulling everything together. And I don't know why I doubt myself so much before that, because we always get here, we always make it work, but I was starting to see it more by this point. This was officially the final day. I did very minimal sketching on this one. I kind of just had like a color palette in mind. I knew I wanted to do something floral, and I kind of just wung it from there. This one on the background color was also very much doing the same weird warpy thing that the lily pad one was doing. I was just trying to trust the process though, because I knew once it dried it would turn out fine, but I was worried. Watching these back now is so interesting, knowing that I kind of wanted to give up at some points. Like I did not think that these were going to turn out well and that I would just have to scrap the idea entirely. But because all of these were very much meant to just be experiments, I really wanted to just have the freedom to play around and make it work and add details until I liked how it looked and how it turned out. Each one of my pieces too has such a distinct moment when I realize that I'm starting to like how it looks, and adding these details onto the leaves, these little dots, and the little bits of green on the base of the petals, this was the moment. I knew I wanted to do this little checkered border frame edge to this from the moment that I started it, and I really think this was the moment that things kind of looked more like an actual finished piece as opposed to them before, and these little bits of blue kind of just brought it all together for me. Now we're looking like a little piece of art. There we go. So after this one, where I did it inspired by my bookmark / bookshelf, I was kind of enjoying doing just like a fun matte pattern. Enjoyed it. And then this one, also very different. I kind of just wanted to play around with this color palette of like a pale peachy, orangey yellow. This shade of almost like periwinkle blue, and then this softer green. And I also kind of just wanted to do something with like a fun border around the edges. Like, I think this is very cute. I like the simplicity of it. It was fun to do. I like the colors. And same with this one. Really did not like how it went. I kind of do wish that I had a background color for it, but like, it's very cute. And again, the mattness of the colors, like even from the lower angle, it's very cool. Also, kind of an update too on the paints themselves for anyone who's interested. They do, obviously, because they're open, you only have this little case to close over the top of it. Obviously, they do kind of dry out a little bit and they kind of get a little crusty on the top. But I have been, every time I've needed to use a color, just been able to use like a stick or something to kind of stir it up. And even with my palette of colors that I've used, you can see these are all the colors that I've used since I started my sketchbook from 5 days ago, that I just kind of keep reusing the same little paint spots. And as long as I re-wet it with water or kind of spritz it down with water, I can keep blending it. And it does kind of remind me a lot of watercolor in that aspect. Even if it dries out, you can just re-wet it, mix it up, and you're good to go. So that aspect, I was worried about the fact that it doesn't seal tight every single individual color. It does dry out, but it's still workable, which is nice. My cat was sad, so I had to come welcome her in. Welcome to the end of the video. If you guys have made it this far, thank you so much for watching. After my 5 different little experiments with painting, I feel like I honestly learned a lot, both about the paints themselves, getting to experiment with, and kind of just the art process itself. I feel like I mentioned a lot through kind of each piece that I was genuinely really worried with where they started. I didn't think that they were gonna look good. I did not think that they were gonna turn out good. And I've been thinking a lot that it's okay having to push through that really ugly phase in your art where you don't feel confident about how it looks. I feel like every artist, every creative person, especially when you're trying something new, probably has experienced that. And even just in life, sometimes it's hard to want to push through the ugly parts, the hard parts, the parts where you just don't know if things are going to work out, and not to get like too deep. But I feel like that is very applicable to life. And so I didn't really expect to like think about that and kind of process through that as I was doing these paintings. But genuinely, like, I'm just so happy with how they turned out. It was so cute. It was such a fun process to get to do. I got to experiment and again, just like push through those little moments where I kind of wanted to quit and start over because I didn't like how it was looking. And then getting to the end and actually being really rewarded with that progress and being able to push through was such a joy. It was very fun. Lily also says thank you for watching. She says bye.